WNBA action returned following the Olympic break last Thursday, and we've seen teams play a handful of games in what is going to be a sprint towards the end of the regular season. So it's time for some W Talk. We're going to do it with a writer for the local W. He's also the executive producer of the 9450 Basketball Network. Kevin Lewis joins me now for the first time to talk some WNBA. Kevin, how's it going?
Hello, Dexter. Everything is all well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing good. Getting ready to enjoy this final stretch of the W season. And Kevin, I want to start locally with you for the folks here in New York with the Liberty. They are 2-0 since the break. They recorded a win over the Aces in Vegas on Saturday. So considering the fact that they beat the Aces twice this season, they have the best record in the league at 23-4, and they just clinched a playoff berth, the first team in the W to do so. When you look at this Liberty team, in your eyes, are they the team to beat in the W right now?
Yes, I believe that the Liberty are indeed the team to beat in the W right now. They carry the best record in the league, as you said, and along with the best statistical numbers where they rank at the very top in analytical categories. That includes offensive efficiency, defensive rating, and effective field goal percentage, as well as net rating, all while being in ninth place in pace. So this team has literally found the formula to actually win games at a slower pace than any of their other top four teams that lead the league in pace. So I think in two games back from their break, they've punished the opposition defensively in holding them to 67 to 68 points. And also with that, they have a defensive rating of 79.1 and 85.9 respectively. Now, with that, the play of Sabrina Ionescu has been incredible. And she has been such a great focal point from an offensive standpoint. Now, taking in more drives, you see her in the paint more. She's implemented that floater along with that patented three-point shot that she has. But not only Sabrina Ionescu has been incredible for this team offensively, but I do want to talk about the importance of their bench production and the acquisitions of Leonie Febish, Kennedy Burke, and Ivana Dojkic. They have been very pivotal for this team, and they've rallied heavily. And their chemistry is simply amazing right now. And they're clicking on all cylinders. So I do believe that the Liberty right now are the team to beat in the WNBA. And right now they're sitting at the favorites, for the WNBA finals.
Yeah, it's hard to think for them not to be the favorites here for the WNBA finals as they have a 3.5 game lead for the top spot in the playoffs. We'll see if they're able to hold on to that. But anytime you're talking about winning a title, Kevin, you also have to talk about the defending champs, right? And those are the Aces, back-to-back defending champions. They've lost 2 in a row, and they would be the 4 seed in the playoffs if it started today. Where are you on the Aces, and do you think they have what it takes to turn things around and three-peat again?
Yeah, I do think that the Aces are they're still in the driver position, Dexter, and I think it's a matter of how will they be able to spell a lot of the minutes that Asia is on the bench. I think with that, when Asia is out of the game, the Aces sometimes can get out of sorts, and I do believe that from a statistical standpoint, that their defensive rating goes into a -5, if I'm not mistaken, from a defensive rating standpoint. But when she's on the floor, they sit at the top of the league. And that's in 144 minutes of non-Asia minutes. So with Chelsea Gray continuing to get back into the groove of things, I know that she played 9 or 10 games in coming back to get herself prepared for the Olympics. She still has a lot of I think that she still has a lot of wind to get up under her. So I think when she does get that wind back up under her, they will be okay. And of course, everybody is gunning for the Aces, right? They're going for a third straight WNBA championship. So the pressure is immense for them as well. So as long as they can spell those minutes that Asia is off the floor, I think that they will be okay. They showed that a little bit tonight against the Sparks. So I think that they'll still be okay, and they'll still be in the runnings, of course, of getting that illustrious third championship, the first three-peat since the Houston Comets of the late 90s.
They're still a team to be reckoned with. We'll see about the Aces moving forward. Moving on with this, we got to talk about Caitlin Clark and the Fever because they've won back-to-back games. Kevin, huge win over the Storm on Sunday. Was the Olympic break good for Clark and the Fever? And do you think Indiana is a team that can make the playoffs? They currently sit in the 7th position right now. Do you think this team can make the playoffs?
Yes, I absolutely think that this team can make the playoffs. And the Olympic break has probably been the best thing to ever happen to Caitlin Clark. And she had been playing competitive basketball since November 6th of 2023, her senior year at Iowa. So for that, to come in as the number one overall pick, and then a couple of weeks later, you're starting WNBA training camp, and then you have the first 13 games are some of your toughest games that you're playing. I think this break deemed well for Caitlin Clark, and it not only deemed well for her physically, but it also deemed well for her mentally. She was able to take that break. She was able to do what she wanted to do from a relaxation standpoint and from a clear your head standpoint. So this Fever team coming back into the Olympic break, of course, 2-0 right now, two key wins versus playoff teams in the Seattle Storm, and as well as I'm sorry, I'm blanking out on the team that they played before that. But this team is definitely really, really good. And this team is very, very dangerous coming into the possible playoff picture. So right now, I believe they sit at 13 and 15. In the beginning of the season, predicted that they could potentially win 20 games. And they look like they're on that trajectory. The most important thing with this team is the chemistry of Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. That pocket pass into the short corner where Aaliyah is now gauging more looks from an offensive standpoint in finding shooters like Lexi Hall and scorers like Kelsey Mitchell, who is either shooting the three or cutting to the basket for easy buckets. I think that's been the most important thing. And they are indeed top 4 in the league in pace. So I think that they found their chemistry. I think they found their lineups that they want to initiate. And the Fever can indeed be one of those teams to make the playoffs. Not necessarily saying that they may make any noise in the playoffs. However, they do have a great chance in making the playoffs.
Yeah, getting to the playoffs would be huge for this Fever team, especially after getting Caitlin Clark, the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 WNBA draft. Last thing for me, Kevin, got to ask you about this. We got so many games in a short period of time over this final month or so of the season. What player and or team are you keeping your eye on as we go down the stretch of the season?
I am not sleeping on Ryan Howard and the Atlanta Dream. I believe that with the chemistry and coming back from the injuries, prior to the Olympic break, the Atlanta Dream was on an 8-game losing streak. And now they are sitting at 2-0 with 2 key wins versus the Storm and versus the Connecticut Sun. And with Ryan Howard back, and also the key piece that was missing for the majority of the season in Jordan Canada, the acquisition from the Los Angeles Sparks last year, I believe that this team can be a very scary team coming in with 13 games left on their schedule. And when you have the addition of Alicia Gray, who had came off a spectacular all-star weekend performance in both the skills challenge and the three-point shootout, that confidence is high. You still have Tina Charles. I know there's still questions about Cheyenne Parker-Tyus, who went down today with a lower leg injury, but I believe that the chemistry will continue to come into its place. And I do think that the Atlanta Dream can be very scary and could possibly sneak in to the playoffs, even with the lofty expectations this year of them being a top 4 team. So with that being said, I am not going to sleep on the star in Ryan Howard and this Atlanta Dream team.
It should be an interesting race for the final couple of spots in the playoff race. We could see the Atlanta Dream along, we mentioned the Indiana Fever, and the Chicago Sky all battling for those final couple of spots. That is Kevin Lewis. Check out his work with the local W, also producing some other great content around the WNBA. Kevin, first time we got to connect for this. I appreciate this, and we'll have to do it again soon.
Absolutely. Likewise. Thank you for having me. This has been fun.
Anytime, my man. Thank you.